Septuagint reading from the book of Daniel. We are in chapter 8. It is written, in the 3rd year of the reign of King Balthazar, a vision appeared to me, even to me, Daniel, after that which appeared to me at the first. And I was in Susa, the palace, which is in the land of Elam, and I was on the bank of Ubal. And I lifted up mine eyes and saw, and behold, a ram standing in front of the Ubal. And he had high horns, and one was higher than the other, and the high one came up last. And I saw the ram butting westward and northward and southward, and no beast could stand before him. And there was none that could deliver out of his hand. And he did according to his will and became great. And I was considering, and behold, a he-goat came from the southwest on the face of the whole earth, and touched not the earth. And the goat had a horn between his eyes. And he came to the ram that had the horns, which I had seen standing in front of Ubal, and he ran at him with the violence of his strength. And I saw him coming up close to the ram, and he was furiously enraged against him. And he smote the ram and broke both his horns, and there was no strength in the ram to stand before him. But he cast him on the ground and trampled on him, and there was none that could deliver the ram out of his hand. Excuse me. And the he-goat grew exceedingly great, and when he was strong, his great horn was broken, and 4 other horns rose up in its place toward the 4 winds of heaven. And out of one of them came forth one strong horn, and it grew very great toward the south and toward the host. And it magnified itself to the host of heaven. And there fell to the earth some of the host of heaven and of the stars, and they trampled on them. And this shall be until the chief captain shall have delivered the captivity, and by reason of him the sacrifice was disturbed, and he prospered, and the holy place shall be made desolate. And a sin offering was given for the sacrifice, and righteousness was cast down to the ground, and it practiced and prospered. And I heard one saint speaking, and a saint said to a certain one speaking, how long shall the vision continue? Even the removal of the sacrifice and the bringing in of the sin of desolation. And how long shall the sanctuary and host be trampled? And he said to him, evening and morning, there shall be 2,400 days, and then the sanctuary shall be cleansed. And it came to pass, as I, even I, Daniel, saw the vision and sought to understand it, that, behold, there stood before me as the appearance of a man. And I heard the voice of a man between the banks of the Ubal, and he called and said, Gabriel, cause that man to understand the vision. And he came and stood near where I stood. And when he came, I was struck with awe and fell upon my face. And he said to me, understand, son of man, for yet the vision is for an appointed time. And while he spoke with me, I fell upon my face to the earth, and he touched me and set me on my feet. And he said, behold, I make thee know the things that shall come to pass at the end of the wrath. For the vision is yet for an appointed time. The ram which thou sawest that had the horns is the king of the Medes and Persians. The he-goat is the king of the Greeks. And the great horn which was between his eyes, he is the first king. And as for the one that was broken, in whose place there stood up 4 horns, 4 kings shall arise out of his nation, but not in their own strength. And at the latter time of their kingdom, when their sins are coming to the full, there shall arise a king bold in countenance and understanding riddles. And his power shall be great, and he shall destroy wonderfully, and prosper, and practice, and shall destroy mighty men and the holy people. And the yoke of his chain shall prosper. There is craft in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by craft shall destroy many. And he shall stand up for the destruction of many, and shall crush them as eggs in his hand. And the vision of the evening and morning that was mentioned is true. And do thou seal the vision, for it is for many days. And I, Daniel, fell asleep and was sick. Then I arose and did the king's business, and I wondered at the vision, and there was none that understood it. Chapter 9. In the first year of Darius, the son of Asarius, of the seed of the Medes, who reigned over the kingdom of the Chaldeans, I, Daniel, understood by books the number of the years which the word of the Lord to the prophet Jeremiah, even 70 years, for the accomplishment of the desolation of Jerusalem. And I set my face toward the Lord God to seek him diligently by prayer and supplications, with fastings and sackcloth. And I prayed to the Lord my God and confessed and said, O Lord, the great and wonderful God, keeping thy covenant and thy mercy to them that love thee, and to them that keep thy commandments, we have sinned. We have done iniquity. We have transgressed. We have departed and turned aside from thy commandments and from thy judgments. We have not hearkened to thy servants, the prophets, who spoke in thy name to our kings and our princes and our fathers and to all the people of the land. To thee, O Lord, belongs righteousness, and to us confusion of face, as it is, as at this day, to the men of Judah and to the dwellers in Jerusalem, and to all Israel, to them that are near and to them that are far off in all the earth, wherever thou hast scattered them for the sin which they committed. In thee, O Lord, is our righteousness, and to us belongs confusion of face, and to our kings, and to our princes, and to our fathers, forasmuch as we have sinned. To thee, the Lord our God, belong compassions and forgivenesses, whereas we have departed from thee. Neither have we hearkened to the voice of the Lord our God, to walk in his laws, which he set before us by the hands of his servants, the prophets. Moreover, all Israel have transgressed thy law, and have refused to hearken to thy voice. So the curse has come upon us, and the oath that is written in the law of Moses, the servant of God, because we have sinned against him. And he has confirmed his words, which he spoke against us and against our judges who judged us, by bringing upon us great evils, such as we have not happened under the whole heaven. Did I read that? Such as have not happened under the whole heaven, according to what has happened in Jerusalem. As it is written in the law of Moses, all these evils have come upon us. Yet we have not besought the Lord our God, that we might turn away from our iniquities and have understanding in all thy truth. The Lord also has watched and brought the evils upon us, for the Lord our God is righteous in all his work, which he has executed, but we have not hearkened to his voice. And now, O Lord our God, who broughtest thy people out of the land of Egypt with a mighty hand, and madest to thyself a name, as at this day we have sinned, we have transgressed. O Lord, thy mercy is over all. Let, I pray thee, thy wrath turn away, and thine anger from thy city, Jerusalem, even thy holy mountain. For we have sinned, and because our iniquities and those of our fathers, Jerusalem and thy people, are become a reproach among all that are round about us. And now, O Lord our God, hearken to the prayer of thy servant and his supplications, and cause thy face to shine on thy desolate sanctuary for thine own sake, O Lord. Incline thine ear, O my God, and hear. Open thine eyes and behold our desolation, and that of thy city on which thy name is called. For we do not bring our pitiful case before thee on the ground of our righteousness, but on the ground of thy manifold compassions, O Lord. Hearken, O Lord. Be propitious, O Lord. Attend, O Lord. Delay not. O my God, for thine own sake, for thy name is called upon thy city and upon thy people. And while I was yet speaking and praying and confessing my sins and the sins of my people Israel, and bringing my pitiful case before the Lord my God concerning the holy mountain, yea, while I was yet speaking in prayer, behold, the man Gabriel, whom I had seen in the vision at the beginning, came flying, and he touched me about the hour of the evening sacrifice. And he instructed me and spoke with me and said, O Daniel, I am now come forth to impart to thee understanding. At the beginning of thy supplication, the word came forth, and I am come to tell thee, for thou art a man much beloved. Therefore consider the matter, understand the vision. 70 weeks have been determined upon thy people and upon the holy city for sin to be ended and to seal up transgressions and to blot out the iniquities and to make atonement for iniquities and to bring in everlasting righteousness and to seal the vision and the prophet and to anoint the most holy. And thou shalt know and understand that from the going forth of the command for the answer and for the building of Jerusalem until Christ, the Prince, there shall be. Oh, wow. Let me read that again. And thou shalt know and understand that from the going forth of the command for the answer and for the building of Jerusalem until Christ the Prince shall be 7 weeks and 62 weeks. And then the time shall return, and the street shall be built, and the wall and the times shall be exhausted. And after the 62 weeks, the anointed one shall be destroyed, and there is no judgment in him. And he shall destroy the city and the sanctuary with the prince that is coming. They shall be cut off with the flood, and to the end of the war, which is rapidly completed, he shall appoint the city to desolations. And 1 week shall establish the covenant with many. And in the midst of the week, my sacrifice and drink offering shall be taken away. And on the temple shall be the abomination of desolations. And at the end of time, an end shall be put to the desolation. Chapter 10. Wow. In the 3rd year of Cyrus, king of the Persians, a thing was revealed to Daniel, whose name was Baltasar. And the thing was true, and great power and understanding in the vision was given to him. In those days, I, Daniel, was mourning 3 full weeks. I ate no pleasant bread, and no flesh or wine entered into my mouth. Neither did I anoint myself with oil until 3 whole weeks were accomplished. On the 24th day of the 1st month, I was near the great river, which is Tigris Edekel. And I lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, a man clothed in linen, and his loins were girt with the gold of Ophaz. And his body was as Theris, and his face was the appearance of lightning, and his eyes as lamps of fire, and his arms and his legs as the appearance of shining brass, and the voice of his words as the voice of a multitude. And I, Daniel, only saw the vision, and the men that were with me saw not the vision, but a great amazement fell upon them, and they fled in fear. So I was left alone and saw this great vision, and there was no strength left in me. And my glory was turned into corruption, and I retained no strength. Yet I heard the voice of his words, and when I heard him, I was pricked in my heart, and I fell with my face to the earth. And behold, a hand touched me, and it raised me on my knees. And he said to me, O Daniel, man greatly beloved, understand the words which I speak to thee, and stand upright. For I am now sent to thee. And when he had spoken to me this word, I stood trembling. And he said to me, Fear not, Daniel, for from the first day that thou didst set thine heart to understand and to afflict thyself before the Lord thy God, thy words were heard, and I am come because of thy words. But the prince of the kingdom of the Persians withstood me 21 days. And behold, Michael, one of the princes, came to help me. And I left him there with the chief of the kingdom of the Persians. And I have come to inform thee of all that shall befall thy people in the last days. For the vision is yet for many days. And when he had spoken with me according to these words, I turned my face to the ground and was pricked in the heart. And behold, as it were the likeness of a son of man touched my lips. And I opened my mouth and spoke and said to him that stood before me, O my Lord, at the sight of thee my bowels were turned within me, and I had no strength. And how shall thy servant be able, O my Lord, to speak with this, my Lord? And as for me, from henceforth strength will not remain in me, and there is no breath left in me. And there touched me again as it were the appearance of a man, and he strengthened me and said to me, Fear not, man greatly beloved, peace be to thee. Quit thyself like a man and be strong. And when he had spoken with me, I received strength and said, Let my Lord speak, for thou hast strengthened me. And he said, Knowest thou wherefore I am come to thee? And now I will return to fight with the prince of the Persians. And I was going in, and the prince of the Greeks came. But I will tell thee that which is ordained in the scripture of truth. There is no one that holds with me in these matters, but Michael, your prince. Chapter 11. And I, in the first year of Cyrus, stood to strengthen and confirm him. And now I will tell thee the truth. Behold, there shall yet rise up 3 kings in Persia, and the 4th shall be far richer than all. And after that, he is master of his wealth. He shall rise up against all the kingdoms of the Greeks. And there shall rise up a mighty king, and he shall be lord of a great empire, and shall do according to his will. And when his kingdom shall stand up, it shall be broken, and shall be divided to the 4 winds of heaven, but not to his posterity, nor according to his dominion, which he ruled over. For his kingdom shall be plucked up and given to others beside these. And the king of the south shall be strong, and one of their princes shall prevail against him, and shall obtain a great dominion. And after his years they shall associate, and the daughter of the king of the south shall come to the king of the north to make agreements with him. But she shall not retain power of arm, neither shall his seed stand. And she shall be delivered up, and they that brought her, and the maiden, and he that strengthened her in these times. But out of the flower of her root there shall arise one on his place, and shall come against the host, and shall enter into the strongholds of the king of the north, and shall fight against them and prevail. Yea, he shall carry with a body of captives into Egypt their gods with their molten images and all their precious vessels of silver and gold. And he shall last longer than the king of the north. And he shall enter into the kingdom of the king of the south, and shall return to his own land. And his sons shall gather a multitude among many, and one shall certainly come and overflow and pass through, and he shall rest and collect his strength. And the king of the south shall be greatly enraged, and shall come forth, and shall war with the king of the north. And he shall raise a great multitude, but the multitude shall be delivered into his hand. And he shall take the multitude, and his heart shall be exalted, and he shall cast down many thousands, but he shall not prevail. For the king of the north shall return, and bring a multitude greater than the former. And at the end of the times of years, an invading army shall come with a great force and with much substance. And in those times many shall rise up against the king of the south, and the children of the spoilers of thy people shall exalt themselves to establish the vision, and they shall fail. And the king of the north shall come in and cast up a mound and take strong cities, and the arms of the king of the south shall withstand, and his chosen ones shall rise up, but there shall be no strength to stand. And he that comes in against him shall do according to his will, and there is no one to stand before him. And he shall stand in the land of beauty, and it shall be consumed by his hand. And he shall set his face to come in with the force of his whole kingdom, and shall cause everything to prosper with him. And he shall give him the daughter of women to corrupt her, but she shall not continue, neither be on his side. And he shall turn his face to the islands, and shall take many, and cause princes to cease from their reproach. Nevertheless, his own reproach shall return to him. Then he shall turn back his face to the strength of his own land, but he shall become weak and fall and not be found. And there shall arise out of his root one that shall cause a plant of the kingdom to pass over his place, earning kingly glory. And yet in those days shall he be broken, yet not openly, nor in war. One shall stand on his place, who has been set at naught, and they have not put upon him the honor of the kingdom. But he shall come in prosperously and obtain the kingdom by deceitful ways. And the arms of him that overflows shall be washed away as with a flood from before him, and shall be broken, and so shall be the head of the covenant. And because of the leagues made with him, he shall work deceit, and he shall come up and overpower them with a small nation. And he shall enter with prosperity, and that into fertile districts, and he shall do what his fathers and his fathers' fathers have not done. He shall scatter among them plunder and spoils and wealth, and he shall devise plans against Egypt, even for a time. And his strength and his heart shall be stirred up against the king of the south with a great force. And the king of the south shall engage in war with a great and very strong force. But his forces shall not stand, for they shall devise plans against him. And they shall eat his provisions, and shall crush him. And he shall carry away armies as with a flood, and many shall fall down slain. And as for both the kings, their hearts are set upon mischief, and they shall speak lies at one table, and it shall not prosper, for yet the end is for a fixed time. And he shall return to his land with much substance, and his heart shall be against the holy covenant. And he shall perform great deeds and return to his own land. At the set time he shall return and shall come into the south, but the last expedition shall not be as the first. For the Scythians issuing forth shall come against him, and he shall be brought low, and shall return, and shall be incensed against the holy covenant. And he shall do thus, and shall return, and have intelligence with them that have forsaken the holy covenant. And seed shall spring up out of him, and they shall profane the sanctuary of strength, and they shall remove the perpetual sacrifice, and make the abomination desolate. And the transgressor shall bring about a covenant by deceitful ways, but a people knowing their God shall prevail and do valiantly. And the intelligent of the people shall understand much, Yet they shall fall by the sword, and by flame, and by captivity, and by spoil of many days. And when they are weak, they shall be helped with a little help, but many shall attach themselves to them with treachery. And some of them that understand shall fall, to try them as with fire, and to test them, and that they may be manifested at the time of the end. For the matter is yet for a set time. And he shall do according to his will, and the king shall exalt and magnify himself against every god, and shall speak great swelling words, and shall prosper until the indignation shall be accomplished, for it is coming to an end. And he shall not regard any gods of his fathers, nor the desire of women, neither shall he regard any deity, for he shall magnify himself above all. And he shall honor the God of forces on his place, and a God whom his fathers knew not, he shall honor with gold and silver and precious stones and desirable things. And he shall do thus in the strong places of refuge. Excuse me. And he shall do thus in the strong places of refuge with a strange God, and shall increase his glory, and he shall subject many to them, and shall distribute the land in gifts. And at the end of the time, he shall conflict with the king of the south, and the king of the north shall come against him with chariots and with horsemen and with many ships. And they shall enter into the land, and he shall break in pieces and pass on. And he shall enter into the land of beauty, and many shall fail. But these shall escape out of his hand, Edom, Moab, and the chief of the children of Ammon. And he shall stretch forth his hand over the land, and the land of Egypt shall not escape. And he shall have the mastery over the secret treasures of gold and silver, and over all the desirable possessions of Egypt and of the Libyans and Ethiopians in their strongholds. But rumors and anxiety out of the east and from the north shall trouble him, and he shall come with great wrath to destroy many. And he shall pitch the tabernacle of his palace between the seas and the holy mountain of beauty. But he shall come to his portion, and there is none to deliver him. Chapter 12. And at that time, Michael, the great prince, shall stand up, that stands over the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of tribulation, such tribulation as has not been from the time that there was a nation on earth until that time. At that time, thy people shall be delivered, even every one that is written in the book. And many of them that slept in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, and some to reproach and everlasting shame. And the wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, and some of the many righteous as the stars forever and ever. And thou, Daniel, close the words and seal the book to the time of the end, until many are taught and knowledge is increased. And I, Daniel, saw, and behold, two others stood on one side of the bank of the river, and on the other, and the other on the other side of the bank of the river. And one said to the man clothed in linen, who was over the water of the river, when will be the end of the wonders which thou hast mentioned? And I heard the man clothed in linen, who was over the water of the river, and he lifted up his right hand and his left hand to heaven, and sware by him that lives forever, that it should be for a time of times and half a time. When the dispersion is ended, they shall know all these things. Wow, there's something else in it. Okay. And I heard, but I understood not. And I said, O Lord, what will be the end of these things? And he said, Go, Daniel, for the words are closed and sealed up to the time of the end. Many must be tested and thoroughly whitened and tried with fire and sanctified. But the transgressors shall transgress, and none of the transgressors shall understand. But the wise will understand. Wow. And from the time of the removal of the perpetual sacrifice, when the abomination of desolation shall be set up, there shall be 1,290 days. Blessed is he that waits and comes to the 1,335 days. But go thou and rest For there are yet days and seasons to the fulfillment of the end, and thou shalt stand in thy lot at the end of the days. Chapter 13, History of Susanna. There dwelt a man in Babylon called Josim, and he took a wife whose name was Susanna, the daughter of Kelsia, a very fair woman, and one that feared the Lord. Her parents also were righteous and taught their daughter according to the law of Moses. Now Josim was a great rich man and had a fair garden joining unto his house, and to him resorted the Jews, because he was more honorable than all others. The same year were appointed two of the ancients of the people to be judges, such as the Lord spake of, that wickedness came from Babylon from ancient judges who seemed to govern the people. These kept much at Josim's house, and all that had any suits in law came unto them. Now when the people departed away at noon, Susanna went into her husband's garden to walk, and the two elders saw her going in every day and walking, so that their lust was inflamed toward her. And they perverted their own mind and turned away their eyes, that they might not look unto heaven nor remember just judgments. And albeit they both were wounded with her love, yet durst not one show another his grief. For they were ashamed to declare their lust, that they desired to have to do with her. Yet they watched diligently from day to day to see her. And the one said to the other, Let us now go home, for it is dinner time. So when they were gone out, they parted the one from the other, and turning back again, they came to the same place. And after that they had asked one another the cause, they acknowledged their lust. Then appointed they a time both together, when they might find her alone. And it fell out as they watched it, a fit time, she went in as before with two maids only, and she was desirous to wash herself in the garden, for it was hot. And there was nobody there save the two elders that had hid themselves and watched her. Then she said to her maids, Bring me oil and washing balls, and shut the garden doors, that I may wash me. And they did as she bade them, and shut the garden doors, and went out themselves at privy doors to fetch the things that she had commanded them. But they saw not the elders, because they were hid. Now when the maids were gone forth, and the two elders rose up and ran unto her, saying, Behold, the garden doors are shut, that no man can see us, and we are in love with thee. Therefore consent unto us, and lie with us. If thou wilt not, we will bear witness against thee, that a young man was with thee, and therefore thou didst send away thy maids from thee. Then Susanna sighed and said, I am straitened on every side. For if I do this thing, it is death unto me. And if I do it not, I cannot escape your hands. It is better for me to fall into your hands and not do it, than to sin in the sight of the Lord. With that, Susanna cried with a loud voice, and the two elders cried out against her. Then ran the one and opened the garden door. So when the servants of the house heard the cry in the garden, they rushed in at the privy door to see what was done unto her. When the elders had declared their matter, the servants were greatly ashamed, for there was never such a report made of Susanna. And it came to pass the next day, when the people were assembled to her husband Josim, and the two elders came also, full of mischievous imagination against Susanna, to put her to death, and said before the people, Send for Susanna, the daughter of Kelsias, Josim's wife, Jochin's wife. And they sent. So she came with her father and mother, her children, and all her kindred. Now Susanna was a very delicate woman, and beauteous to behold. And these wicked men commanded to uncover her face, for she was covered, that they might be filled with her beauty. Therefore her friends and all that saw her wept. Then the two elders stood up in the midst of the people and laid their hands upon her head, and she, weeping, looked up toward heaven, for her heart trusted in the Lord. And the elders said, As we walked in the garden alone, this woman came in with two maids, and shut the garden door, and sent the maids away. Then a young man, who there was hid, came unto her and lay with her. Then we that stood in the corner of the garden, seeing this wickedness, ran unto them. And when we saw them together, the man we could not hold, for he was stronger than we, and opened the door and leaped out. But having taken this woman, we asked who the young man was, but she would not tell us. These things do we testify. Then the assembly believed them as those that were the elders and judges of the people, so they condemned her to death. Then Susanna cried out with a loud voice and said, O everlasting God, that knowest the secrets and knowest all things before they be. Thou knowest that they have borne false witness against me, and behold, I must die, whereas I never did such things as these men have maliciously invented against me. And the Lord heard her voice. Therefore, when she was led to be put to death, the Lord raised up the Holy Spirit of a young youth whose name was Daniel, who cried with a loud voice, I am clear from the blood of this woman. Then all the people turned them toward him and said, What mean these words that thou hast spoken? So he, standing in the midst of them, said, Are ye such fools, ye sons of Israel, that without examination or knowledge of the truth ye have condemned a daughter of Israel? Return again to the place of judgment, for they have borne false witness against her. Wherefore all the people turned again in haste, and the elder said unto him, Come, sit down among us, and shew it us, seeing God hath given thee the honor of an elder. Then said Daniel unto them, Put these two aside, one from another, and I will examine them. So when they were put asunder one from another, he called one of them and said unto him, O thou that art waxen old in wickedness, now thy sins which thou hast committed aforetime are come to light. For thou hast pronounced false judgment, and hast condemned the innocent, and hast let the guilty go free. Albeit the Lord saith, The innocent and righteous shall thou not slay. Now then, if thou hast seen her, tell me, under what tree sawest thou them companying together? Who answered, Under a mastic tree? I wonder what that is. A mastic tree? And Daniel said, Very well. Thou hast lied against thine own head, for even now the angel of God hath received the sentence of God to cut thee in two. So he put him aside and commanded to bring the other, and said unto him, O thou seed of Canaan, and not of Judah, beauty hath deceived thee, and lust hath perverted thine heart. Thus have ye dealt with the daughters of Israel, and they for fear companied with you. But the daughter of Judah would not abide your wickedness. Now therefore tell me, under what tree didst thou take them companying together? Who answered, Under a holm tree. Then said Daniel unto him, Well, thou hast also lied against thine own head. For the angel of God waiteth with the sword to cut thee in two, that he may destroy you. With that, all the assembly cried out with a loud voice and praised God, who saveth them that trust in him. And they arose against the two elders, for Daniel had convicted them of false witness by their own mouth. And according to the law of Moses, they did unto them in such sort as they maliciously intended to do to their neighbor, and they put them to death. Thus the innocent blood was saved the same day. Therefore Celsius and his wife praised God for their daughter Susanna, and Josem her husband, and all the kindred, because there was no dishonesty found in her. From that day forth was Daniel had in great reputation in the sight of the people. Chapter 14, Bel and the Dragon. And King Astyages was gathered to his fathers, and Cyrus of Persia received his kingdom. And Daniel conversed with the king and was honored above all his friends. Now the Babylonians had an idol called Bel, and there were spent upon him every day 12 great measures of fine flour, and 40 sheep, and 6 vessels of wine. And the king worshipped it and went daily to adore it. But Daniel worshipped his own God. And the king said unto him, Why dost not thou worship Bel? Who answered and said, Because I may not worship idols made with hands, but the living God, who hath created the heaven and the earth, and hath sovereignty over all flesh. Then said the king unto him, Thinkest thou not that Bel is a living God? Seest thou not how much he eateth and drinketh every day? Then Daniel smiled and said, O king, be not deceived, for this is but clay within and brass without, and did never eat or drink anything. So the king was wroth and called for his priests and said unto them, If ye tell me not who this is that devoureth these expenses, ye shall die. But if ye can certify me that Bel devoureth them, then Daniel shall die, for he has spoken blasphemy against Bel. And Daniel said unto the king, Let it be according to thy word. Now the priests of Bel were 70, beside their wives and children. And the king went with Daniel into the temple of Bel. So Bel's priest said, Lo, we go out, but thou, O king, set on the meat, and make ready the wine, and shut the door fast, and seal it with thine own signet. And tomorrow, when thou comest in, if thou findest not that Bel hath eaten up all, we will suffer death, or else Daniel that speaketh falsely against us. And they little regarded it, for under the table they had made a privy entrance, whereby they entered in continually and consumed those things. So when they were gone forth, the king set meats before Bel. Now Daniel had commanded his servants to bring ashes, and those they strewed throughout all the temple in the presence of the king alone. Then went they out and shut the door and sealed it with the king's signet, and so departed. Now in the night came the priests with their wives and children, as they were wont to do, and did eat and drink up all. In the morning betime the king arose, and Daniel with him. And the king said, Daniel, are the seals whole? And he said, Yea, O king, they be whole. And as soon as he opened the door, the king looked upon the table and cried with a loud voice, Great art thou, O Bel, and with thee is no deceit at all. Then laughed Daniel and held the king that he should not go in, and said, Behold, now the pavement, and mark well those footsteps. Wait a minute. Behold now the pavement, and mark well, whose footsteps are these? And the king said, I see the footsteps of men, women, and children. And then the king was angry, and he took the priests with their wives and children, who shewed him the privy doors, where they came in and consumed such things as were upon the table. Therefore the king slew them, and delivered Bel into Daniel's power, who destroyed him and his temple. And in that same place there was a great dragon, which they of Babylon worshipped. And the king said unto Daniel, Wilt thou also say that this is of brass? Lo, he liveth, he eateth and drinketh. Thou canst not say that he is no living God, therefore worship him. Then said Daniel unto the king, I will worship the Lord my God, for he is the living God. But give me leave, O king, and I shall slay this dragon without sword or staff. The king said, I give thee leave. Then Daniel took pitch and fat and hair, and did seethe them together, and made lumps thereof. This he put in the dragon's mouth, and so the dragon burst in asunder. And Daniel said, Lo, these are the gods ye worship. When they of Babylon heard that, they took great indignation and conspired against the king, saying, The king is become a Jew, and he hath destroyed Bel. He hath slain the dragon, and put the priest to death. So they came to the king and said, Deliver us, Daniel, or else we will destroy thee and thine house. Now when the king saw that they pressed him sore, being constrained, he delivered Daniel unto them, who cast him into the lion's den, where he was 6 days. And in the den there were 7 lions, and they had given them every day 2 carcasses and 2 sheep, which then were not given to them, to the intent they might devour Daniel. Now there was in Jewry a prophet called Habakkuk, who had made pottage, and he broken bread in a bowl, and was going into the field to bring it to the reapers. But the angel of the Lord said unto Habakkuk, Go carry the dinner that thou hast into Babylon unto Daniel, who is in the lion's den. And Habakkuk said, Lord, I never saw Babylon, neither do I know where the den is. The angel of the Lord took him by the crown, and bare him by the hair of the head, and through the vehemency of his spirit set him in Babylon over the den. And Habakkuk cried, saying, O Daniel, Daniel, take the dinner which God hath sent thee. And Daniel said, Thou hast remembered me, O God, neither hast thou forsaken them that seek thee and love thee. So Daniel arose and did eat. And the angel of the Lord set Habakkuk in his own place again immediately. Upon the 7th day the king went to bewail Daniel, and when he came to the den, he looked in, and behold, Daniel was sitting. Then cried the king with a loud voice, saying, Great art thou, Lord God of Daniel, and there is none other beside thee. And he drew him out, and cast those that were the cause of his destruction into the den, and they were devoured in a moment before his face. Wow, that's crazy. I read that many years ago, probably around 2000 or something. Because I remember Susanna, that story in Susanna. That's something else. But anyway, so that ends the book of Daniel out of the Septuagint. I'm not sure what book I'm going to read from the Septuagint next, but I will be reading one. But I am going to forewarn y'all, I am going to read once again, and people may not like this, but I can't help it. The protocols of the learned of elders of Zion, the Jewish plot to corrupt the West and subjugate the world. And I'm going to read that again. Now, it's been a couple of years since I first read it. And that time I did not get a strike. I can't say that I will not lose my channel for reading this once again, but I do feel led to read it again, and I'm going to. So, until next time, brothers and sisters, keep your eyes on Jesus and your nose in the book, which is the Word of God. And let us, you and me, embed the Word of God upon the tablets of our hearts, so we will not sin against God or be deceived. And let us be a doer of the word and not a hearer only. Time is short. People are lost. Let's proclaim the gospel and lead them to Christ. I love y'all. Bye-bye.